Okay, so now we're up to part 2, which is developing and planning a conceptualized unit inquiry-based unit. So basically, you are thinking about what are the important parts that you've taken away from my unit plan, and they are here, right? And you're going to use this information in thinking about how to conceptualize my unit, which isn't a unit of inquiry. You're going to change it into a unit of inquiry. Okay, so here I would be looking for how you're extending my unit plan. I can see glimpses of an inquiry unit plan in my unit. And I'm sure you can too, okay, especially kind of around this project here. But I don't want to steer you in any direction because this is yours, right? So feel free to use anything within the unit plan here, or scrap it and do your own, and only use the the content descriptors that I've provided. Okay. So to develop this inquiry unit plan, you need to start thinking about that overall how question, right? So this how question should be the important question worth answering. It's got to be connected to relevance from the perspective of the curriculum, industry, possibly, and obviously the student, right? Why is it worth answering that how question? And from that, you can have 4 or 5 sub-questions that help students answer that overall question. But that how question encapsulates the whole unit. It sets the scene, the relevance, yeah? Then you need to demonstrate what features of each stage of the of Murdoch's inquiry-based learning framework. So what happens in tuning in? What should the students be experiencing? Well, in tuning in, it's the engaging phase. So connecting their prior knowledge to the information that is coming and the learning that is coming. The tasks in tuning in should be highly engaging, but they should also tell you about what students know, about student prior knowledge. And obviously consider this and what happens in each of the other stages. That's what I'm going to be looking for. Going further, for an example, is a really important stage where students are putting in all of, this learnt information in the first 3 stages. They're putting it together and doing something important with those learnings. So think about the importance of learning this, motion topic, and what they could do with their new knowledge here. I'm excited to see, what you come up with in terms of going further. Just a note that finding out and sorting out, even though it's separate, I see them going together, right? Because once you find something out, well, what do you do with it? You kind of classify it and sort it out. So I'm quite happy if you put them all together and kind of, incorporate these 2 together. Okay. Now it's clear that you need to address inclusion, curriculum, engagement, and assessment somewhere in the framework in here, or in these sections here. Okay, so I'll be looking for those 4 things on the whole sheet of paper. So let's look at inclusion first. Here we are really looking for meaningful experiences for the student. So have you considered differentiation through providing varied, learning experiences? Is there challenge for the students, but is there also entry points? And have you addressed incorporating aspects of STEM? Because science, technology, engineering, maths, and sometimes art, and medicine covers the specific knowledge and skills found in these subjects in an integrated way. So this is important because it develops deeper understanding and engagement with our science subject. And by incorporating this kind of engineering design processes, this inherently provides information that is a foundational link across the STEM subjects. So students can appreciate how multiple ideas and multiple approaches and even multiple tools can be applied to complex problems that, have more than one solution, which is, the inherent understandings of science, isn't it? And, what about the learning experience of the girls in your class? Have you addressed the potential gender bias in your physics classroom? And for psychology teachers, this gender bias is just as important for you to consider because, gender bias can fall in your classroom, in your subject, but in the opposite direction. Curriculum. Well, that's the easy one. You can utilize the same curriculum as what I have, yeah? You need to have evidence of these knowledges and these skills throughout the planned inquiry. Engagement, authenticity. This one here is the key here. As well as the activities that help students with regulating their own learning. Like here, it's take control and responsibility for their own learning. That's what I'll be looking for. And assessment, of course. Formative assessment needs to be evident in each stage of your inquiry model here. Okay. So that the students are collecting evidence of their own progress in preparation for the summative assessment. Depending on what that actually is, what you choose to design that to be. So I suppose the main takeaway is just to remember that this is a skeleton and you are conceptualizing this unit plan. You're not writing one in its entirety. You don't have time for that. It is the first stage of the brainstorming ideas. So if you were to teach this unit, you would obviously have to flesh out each stage in much more detail in practice. Have a look at the exemplar for the level of detail required and enjoy the process. Curriculum planning and planning a unit should be fun.